All right. Hello, everyone. We are here for this charity stream tonight. I'm going to do some expert round tournament play for you guys. One of the things that I wanted to at least briefly discuss, there's been some discussion about an account I have. This is my number two account here. As you can see, it has the Apocalypse 6. It has B-52-7, which is kind of lowering, plus the Spitfire, Thor's Hammer 6 as well. Cat 7. This is an account that I really don't play very much. Well, so I don't play it very much at all. Like, it's essentially in rookie division, but you can see that it has had lots of success. There's been a couple of posts about potentially two users have reached out to me so far to potentially buy Ian's account, which you guys have seen, which has been offered up in this charity event. And I wanted to put something that's kind of equally alluring maybe on the table in case that you guys wanted to put that up. But thank you guys for showing up here. If you guys want to see the balls, I actually have more. I have more balls in terms of Kingmakers and Berserkers as Ian does. The only thing that I'm kind of lacking is maybe just a few other things, but you can see I have a decent amount of Titans. I have a decent amount of Snowman Ball, which I originally won that first year. Also Dead Balls, which are kind of alluring. But you can see a lot of the other stuff that I bought was essentially just $5 packages to basically just turn this account into a needle speed account for you guys to use on your own right or whatever. So you can kind of see what I have in terms of ball inventory. But I do have, 2,000 Kingmakers here. Like, it's pretty substantial, plus some snow globes there. Plus I have these Kingmakers, plus these Kingmakers, which is an extra 350. Plus about 50 here. So you can see all in all, this account is reasonable to be used at the master or expert level. I just wanted to at least point it out to you guys. Thank you guys for joining this stream. I wanted to at least, oh, hey Daniel, appreciate it. Appreciate you showing up here and, for reaching out to me earlier about potentially going live and promoting what it is we're trying to do. I wanted to at least check into my Facebook here. I just wanted to show you guys this. And if you guys can, even if you don't want to contribute here, if you guys can at least check in here to essentially just hype this up, like, that would be greatly appreciated. You guys know, I feel like everybody here knows that I don't live stream often. It is a very rare thing. I hate to do it. I'm not a very person that likes to go about doing that. So it takes some motivation for me to go over that edge. So if you guys can go to this is my personal Facebook page. If you guys can check it out, if you guys can at least kind of just, like, even if you're not going to donate, if you can just come here and essentially just be here for like support and encourage this, like, that's really all that I ask. So, you guys know I don't like to stream. I don't like to ask for donations or any of that. It's just not my thing. So at the very least, if you can do that, like, I definitely appreciate the support. It's all for Ian's calls, which he has graciously reached out to me to essentially assist him in this pursuit to basically raise funds for this leukemia and lymphoma. And it's just something that we both kind of support. And, you know, I want to encourage him to be able to, you know, continue to do what he does. He's obviously a great contributor to the community, and I hope that you guys support what it is that we do at Golf Clash Notebook. So if you guys want to reach out and follow and support what it is we do, please do check that out. Without further ado, I am going to log into my All right, hello everyone. We are back. I'm not sure if there was a lapse there. I'm assuming there was. Are you guys coming back in? I'm trying to follow along with what's been going on. All right, hello everyone. We are back. And I'm trying to pick up Wi-Fi. If you guys see that I might be kind of out of connection here, I feel like I probably dropped on you guys. So I'm not sure if those streams dropped off or not. But thank you guys all for showing up to this stream. I'm going to try to run through Expert now. As you guys can see that I tried to load my #1 account. That was my #2 account. If you guys didn't check out that previous video, if it did separate, I'm not sure at this point. I'll have to check it out after this stream. That was the account that I'm potentially just offering up for you guys if you guys are interested in potentially buying it outright. There's been a couple offers that I've gotten and some guys who were interested in Ian's account for maybe just buying it outright. So I essentially just wanted to show you what the inventory was for that. But I'm going to go to my main here, and we're going to play some holes and go through 1 through 9 with. So I've already ran the front 9 here. We're going to go through the back now. And on the front, I went through with essentially kingmakers for the most part. I feel like that might be a little bit not what you guys want to see. So I'm thinking about just sucking it up here. I can run through some Win 5s. Arrow ball here. I'm assuming this is probably, you guys probably want to see what the best approach is to go through Expert Division. So if you guys do want to see some Kingmaker balls, like I'll pull them out for you guys, just let me know. So if you guys can comment in the chat, like I'll do it if that's what you guys want, but I would assume that you guys probably want to see maybe like the most makeable shots. So I'm actually just going to be running the back 9 for you guys. I ran the front. I wasn't even planning on playing this, but then this charity event came about and I figured, well, why not? So try to get you guys motivated. If you guys haven't seen already, as I mentioned about, the Facebook group and the Golf Clash Notebook page, if you guys can at least check out the account raffle, which is in the Golf Clash Notebook page or my personal page. Greatly appreciated, and we definitely appreciate your guys' support and all that you guys have done so far. So I'm going to go ahead and play some holes here. So I'm not seeing comments. So hopefully my connection is okay for you guys, and you guys so I already ran through the front and I was able to make some shots, and it was mostly with Kingmaker balls. You can see my setup here was 1, 6, and 9. I was able to basically get the shots. And 6 was with Kingmaker, 1 was with Kingmaker. 9, I ended up using a snowman ball. If you can see from my set that I have, it is, tons of Kingmakers. I did go through a snowman ball because I have, 50 of them. But aside from that, that's all I used on that whole set, that last set. And I'm going to run through some shots for you guys. I'm going to try to give you guys, since you guys are here for this stream, a little bit more of a competitive stream. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to make more or less than the 15, but we're going to go for it. So let's go ahead and just jump into this hole 10. So here we are linking up. And hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm not sure. I'm not getting any text anymore. I don't know if you guys noticed, but none of the messaging is coming through at all. I am on the Eastern Shore, so as you could see, I feel like that's like part of what caused the last drop off that we had, and I'm just not getting any of the messages. So I'm hoping that you guys are still here, but as in being interactive with you guys, I don't see anything on the screen that's an indication that you guys can even see what's going on, which is unusual for me. But I want to thank you guys for coming to this event, and hopefully you guys have been able to hear what it is that I've been saying. And if you guys can check out my page, especially my personal page, and follow along with the charity auction that we've set up for the leukemia cancer. Definitely would appreciate you guys at least showing up, and even if you don't contribute, if you can just show up and just essentially just be moral support, like that's definitely appreciated. So as you can see, I'm using a Win 5 ball. I'm trying to get up towards the edge of the fairway here for you guys. And you can see up towards the edge there is ideal. Getting towards the long iron, kind of at min club, it's really favorable. You don't have to get up to that short iron capability, but you can see that I may have just probably gotten up to the short iron. I actually find the wind play to be a little bit more complicated, so sometimes I try to just keep it at the min club long iron because it just makes it just a tiny bit easier, so you don't have to play quite so much wind effect. I feel like I'm kind of up against it, where I'm going to have to play just a little bit more than most other players. So let's take a look here. As you can see, as I mentioned, here's Hornet. I'm going to go ahead and switch to Notebook. We're going to go Wind Assist. If you guys didn't already know, I'm assuming you did, um, that we've restored all grid functionality to this. So you can see that it just kind of comes in immediately. I'm going to go typically about 3 top spin here, maybe just a little bit more, 3.5. So maybe somewhere in here. And max club, we're talking 1.2-ish per ring. 4.5. Probably right around 4.5. Ugh. So just a little bit light. I was actually a little bit tight on time too. If you guys were paying attention, I knew I had to get it off. So you can see I didn't let it even go past, but it was just like a quarter ring just under adjusted. But when you go short iron there, I would suggest about 3.5 on top spin. As you could see with the max adjustment, you might have to play just a little bit more wind effect. So you can see that's more or less probably why I missed, is because the wind probably actually pushed it just a little bit harder to the left. Had it been with the long iron, it probably would have just been a little bit more straighter line. It probably would have came in and actually caught the cup, like the edge of the cup, with that same ring type adjustments. So with the B52, for example, I try to go 1.25, 1.3 maybe on the min club adjustment, and it seems to come in a little bit more straight as opposed to needing to play some of that wind effect. So the extra wind effect actually ends up costing you. But I'm just going to go. Oh, well, I was just going to go ahead and forfeit to that guy, but he forfeited to me. He had not very many trophies there, so I was just going to go ahead and just give him that. But let's go ahead and take a look at hole 11. This is an important hole for side spin. So I'm thinking something about an eyeball or Bandera, something in the realm of either of those are going to be a good choice for you. I do pretty much kind of know what to do for this one, regardless whether it's so in my guides, I did Navigator, which is a reasonable option. Anytime that you can get the wind down, you'll see this is a good chance for a make. What I've been doing is essentially max side spin 5.5, somewhere in here. Essentially more or less point the guide at the hole kind of like this. So you can see with what I'm doing with the ball guide. That gives you kind of a heads up. Other than that, it's essentially going to be pull angle. So you're going to need to be very careful with the wind that you pull. I've been playing just maybe about 10% above. So I'm thinking somewhere around here, plus 10%, which is almost 6.5 rings, and there you can see perfect ball. At the very least, it's going to be close. As you can see, it just comes in just a little bit left. It's all about that pull angle. Had I rotated just a little bit more to the left, to the right, I mean. So if I would have just rotated that just a little bit more, it would have went in. Alternatively, your initial setup kind of dictates the way that's going to run out. So definitely keep that in mind. Just because, this is an important concept, because just because you follow and dictate exactly what somebody does doesn't mean that your shot's going to work out the same. You have to be very methodical about your approach, and it all comes down to, the angle that you're pulling at, because you can see, when I sit there and just kind of barely tweak the wind angle, you can see how much just a little bit of tweaking affects everything. And proof of that is just seeing how my shot came out. You can see that it's just to the left of the hole. Had I gone just a little bit more to the right, obviously it's in, and vice versa. If I wasn't so careful and I was just dead straight with the pull angle, it would have came in way too hot. So you have to be very careful with everything that you do. But here we are. Let's see what the wind is. It looks like it's going to be straight in the face. Yeah. Straight in the face. I feel nothing to show you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and just give this guy the win. So not too worried about it. But you can see, I haven't made anything yet. I got to find a way to start making some things. Because you can see I'm using these wind balls. I'm essentially just kind of wasting them more so than anything. But for this one, you guys are going to see that I'm just going to go straight Kingmaker here. You really don't need any kind of wind resistant ball here. There would be maybe something like a mummy ball that would potentially come in to play. But other than that, you really need to have that power number and the wind resistance up. So it's kind of like, it's almost like maybe Centurion or Mummy. Other than that, just go Kingmaker. Even a Titan ball's okay. There's no you just got to keep that power number up more so than anything. But I hope you guys have some audio on this. I'm not too sure. It's really hard to tell at this point because I'm not getting any of the comments to come through. So, but you can see this wind is well down here. So this is one of the rare instances I'm going to be just a little bit more aggressive with my approach and maybe just come in on the power. So you can see I'm almost still keeping it kind of like a dark orange or red because I want to make sure that it keeps on a lot of that yardage. And you can actually see that it ends up clipping that rough. It's actually not that nice of a shot. It's going to kind of put me at the max distance there. But ultimately, it works out, but it's not exactly what you're trying to do. Had that wind been like an 8.5, it wouldn't have clipped that rough on the second bounce. So these are the type of things that you want to be thinking about with your shot because it's kind of going to extend me towards my max distance a little bit. So here we are. It looks like we're still okay. We're still in the max range span. So we're going to go ahead, go right here. So I'm thinking somewhere around here. Typically, I still go pretty close to a min adjustment. So I'm thinking just a little bit more than 6 rings, barely. We got a perfect, so I feel like at least, at the very least, it's going to be close. And just to the left, it's all about port angle and the way that you get that to come on the hole. So you can see just missing that one. All right, hey guys, I'm getting word that it's not popping up on the screen, but you guys are still commenting. Either way, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. Definitely a good calls. Coming in entirely to support the charity that I reached out to you guys about before. I'm just going to go ahead. Let's just go ahead and shoot this. So typically what I'll do from the second tee box is pretty close to a 1-to-1 adjustment, maybe just a little bit more in this case. So I'm going to go maybe 10 rings, maybe even just a little bit of curl. I probably wouldn't have done that if it would have been the tournament wins. Let's just see how this comes in. It looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Otherwise, I would have just gone ahead and forfeited that, but next time, I guess. But, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to continue with this stream. But if you guys were unaware, I wanted you guys just to know that, my personal feed here, I have this donation set up here for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society contributions. We are still trying to raise funds for this. Even if you guys aren't going to come here, if you guys can at least come and kind of support this. I just wanted to point it out to you guys because it's kind of the one thing that I'm trying to kind of kick off a little bit on my page, on my personal page. Alternatively, I typically don't live stream too much. So I just, want you guys to know that there's kind of like a just cause. Like we want to try to raise as much funds as possible for these guys. And that's part of the motivation behind this is, just to raise funds for that, because the only people that are winning are cancer survivors. Like this is a just cause. Like it's not going to my pocket at all. It's not going to Ian's pocket at all. And similarly, if you guys checked out, the account that I was showing you guys about giving away, I'm essentially like, if somebody comes to me and wants that account, like, we're just looking for a solid donation for that account. And similarly, with the donations that we have set up in the Golf Clash Notebook. So if you guys are in Golf Clash Notebook and you want to see what Ian is doing and trying to raise funds for in the Golf Clash Notebook, you guys can see. Let me see if I can find my post. It's somewhere in here close, right here. Account raffle for charity. 100% of the proceeds of anything that comes in from this stream, or collectively, we are going to make sure that all the funds that come in from you guys are accountable and wind up in this charity. So no matter what, no matter whether you guys donate to my page directly and go in through the charity site there, or you follow this post, we're going to make sure that all of that is accounted for and essentially goes to the charity that we're raising money for. So, do keep that in mind. There's an account at stake here. If you guys want to win it, do check that out. We're going to keep rolling here for this stream for you guys. So let's see here. Now, I don't have many of these. I have 2 Santa balls left. We're going to go ahead and use one of them for this back 9. I don't even think I got this on the front either, but it was with a KM ball. You can see I got one with a K. That's ridiculous. So I got one with a KM ball and I missed it on this stream. Kind of annoying. So we're going to keep going here and see if we can't get this. As you see, I had a 15 on the front. And it was essentially with Kingmaker balls. So you just never know what's going to happen. You can try all you want with special balls. Yes, it probably raises your probability, but in essence, I ran the front 9 on the hopes that maybe make some shots. Like, I don't want to, so you guys can see my inventory, it's getting kind of low. I don't have a lot of balls to continue to give you guys guides that I probably want to. So I'm just trying to take advantage of the situation. So in the opening on the front, when you guys weren't seeing me stream, I just went KM balls because I have plenty of them. So you guys can see that, I'm kind of just setting this stream up for you guys in general, just because I feel like this is probably more or less what you guys are probably inclined to be doing. You guys are probably using win 4s or win 5s or something to probably try to increase that ace probability. However, sometimes, as you can see, Kingmakers are enough. So, it all comes down to shot execution and if you can get the shots to fall. So that's more or less what you want to focus on. But let's see what we can do here. That looks a little bit outside and a little bit too hot. As you can see, it was coming in just a little bit fast. I'm going to try to definitely, at the very least, bring it in just a little bit slower. What I've been trying to do is position it kind of in this fairway here. And maybe just a little bit off. So you can see that I'm not quite going full to the right. So you can see that I'm just a little bit inside with my positioning here. Very intentional. You can also see that my full target is inside this range of the fairway. So that's another key point. Other than that, I go pretty close to 1 per. So 5.5 rings here. And if you can bring this in with good speed, it's ideal. So your pull angle is kind of important. It looks a little bit hot. Maybe, no, that's pretty good. No, that's really good. So it barely came in just 1 yard too hot. Really, it came down to a fraction of right spin that I put on it. If I would have just had fractionally less, just to the left, on that last bar, if you guys can watch my spin kind of in replay, if I would have just fractionally had just the minimalist less to the right, that would have been in. That was actually really good speed too. So pull angle is important. If you pull just a little bit too south, like so, you guys could see with where I rotated the camera. If I pulled just dead straight south, it probably would come in just a little bit hot. So you guys could see that I was just rotating it ever so gently, just a little bit short to kind of keep the distance off of that. So with that in mind, that's a good tip for you guys to kind of keep a little bit of that distance off so it's not coming in too hot. You can see that it comes in kind of with good speed there. And that's more or less what you're looking for. And I was almost able to get that one. It was very, very close. So let's keep going here. Let's go arrow. As you can see, I still have a decent amount of those. I don't have a decent amount of pretty much anything else other than arrow balls in terms of Win 5s. I'm getting down there in eyeballs and kind of everything. So let's go ahead. We're going to go to the, wait, this might be the wrong hole for that. Par 4. Oh, no, this is the right hole. So I use this ball on hole 14, 15, 16, loosely. All of those holes loosely. So there's kind of two ways to play this one, because the more that you have the wind resistance, kind of the better, but at the same time, you don't necessarily need the wind resistance to hold this one out. So you have to kind of play what you feel comfortable with. And I've actually kind of switched shots on this. So the guides that I provided for you guys, I'm not necessarily put off by those, but I've kind of switched up my shot a little bit. And it's because the fact that I feel just a little bit more confident with a backspin approach here. So if you can come up with a backspin approach, as you can see, my opponent here is going with kind of the top spin. I just find the run out to be a little bit more consistent. So it's something worth pursuing. So I'm probably going to switch because the wind's a little bit low. So let's switch balls. We'll get the wind up a little bit, kind of like this. So you can see I get it up to a 6.5. And all I'm trying to do is kind of land it on the front of the fairway. Perfect ball. You can see tons of right spin as well. You're really going to need that to accentuate this to the right, keep it out of the sand. So you can see that I essentially have good control over this, keep it short of the sand, keep it out of the bunker. I can get it up just a little bit farther with just a little bit more power, or a little bit more run out, but you can see with the backspin approach, you have more control over it. So it's something that, I've just been playing around with the last couple times that I played through here. This is a pretty popular shot to go off of this fairway and top spin it. It's not my preferred shot, but I guess if you were to lay it back and get it to the min distance and then just be able to top spin it off of there, it seems like a decent approach. Like you can maybe even great ball it. You could see he almost great balled that in. And it's something to at least consider. What I've been doing is essentially just sticking with the backspin shot, trying to find where my max range is. You know, this is important because sometimes it's here, sometimes it's here. You have to learn something from all the distances that you're in. Whether or not min club is here, min club is here. Like it really just kind of changes things a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe 1.6 per ring in this case. And I'll typically put on just a little bit of left spin, as you'll see that the guide is kind of dictating a little bit. So at 1.6, I'm thinking almost 4 rings. So that's essentially 4.0 rings. Perfect ball. And into the cup. So as you can see, finally I do something worth watching. So hopefully you guys are, appreciative of that shot. As you can see, pretty much doing almost next to nothing until that point, other than the stock rounds, but getting very close on a lot of those adjustments. We're going to try to get 6. It's so funny that I got 6 with the Kingmaker. And then I'm probably going to go with arrow ball and potentially miss. So, but we're going to do the best that we can to still get it. So hopefully I'm able to do that here. Anyway, thanks for showing up to the stream, guys, even though I'm not seeing your guys' comments. I appreciate you guys being here. I was hoping to be able to engage with you guys just a little bit more. But as you guys can see, none of the comments are showing up for whatever reason. I'm assuming it might have had to do with the dropout that I had at the beginning of this stream. As you guys can see, I can't see any of the comments on my screen, which is typically what I read. I don't care if you guys write on the screen. It doesn't bother me in any way, but I can see when you guys aren't talking. That just means that you guys are talking and they're just not showing up. And it was confirmed, like I got confirmation. So I know you guys can still hear me, I believe. So I want you guys to know that I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys have the chance to check out my Facebook page, on my personal page, or the Golf Clash Notebook page, we are running this for charity for the leukemia and lymphoma. So if you guys have the ability to donate or want to reach out to us, please do so. As we do appreciate your guys' support at all times. I'm going to try my best to stream for you guys on the weekend as well. So if you guys are, thinking about that and your weekend rounds, I'm going to do the best that I can to show up for that and try to contribute to that positively for you guys. So. But I do thank you guys for being here. We're going to try to go after this hole with the rough bump. Very similar to what you guys saw on my channel with at least 1 or 2 guides. I feel like I probably tried to bend the tree maybe once or twice. But even with the king, so I actually made this with Kingmaker on the front nine, and it's going to be very annoying if I don't make it with a win five. So we're going to do the best that we can. Hopefully, I'm able to get it. Play the wind effect, definitely important. But additionally to that, the biggest problem that I see from setting up here multiple times is it coming in too hot. It's almost like you're picking the wrong pull angle. So you almost got to keep it just a little bit shorter because it's just naturally landing just a little bit long. So you'll see that's what I try to do. Plus I'm going to try to size this up. You can see it's kind of close to max club. This is almost as much as I've ever been towards max club. Like this is kind of crazy towards max club. So the one thing that you'll want to pay attention to is your pull angle. What I typically do is maybe 1.3 per ring at mid club. So at max club, I'm thinking 1.2, almost 4 rings, maybe just a little bit light. So I'm thinking right here. So maybe 3.8 rings. Perfect ball. This is, to me, it looks like a good ball. I'm not saying it's in, but it's a little bit light. So I'm not used to being that long. So as you can see, it was just a tiny bit light, but the speed looked good. So pay attention to my pull angle there because you'll see I'm not quite straight to the side. It's almost a little bit inward because what I've noticed is if you just go straight to the side, like if you're just straight up and down, it comes in too hot. So you'll see that I'm almost rotating just slightly to keep it from rolling out too hot. But also you can see that I was just a little under on my adjustment, mainly because I'm not used to being that far. For whatever reason, the ball didn't roll out very much. So I just came up just a little bit shorter than what's typical. So I was essentially under on the adjustment. But in any regard, actually, let's just go. I'm just going to go ahead and forfeit this. Just go ahead, give it to that guy, and let's go on to the next one. Where are we? 16, okay. So a couple different ways I play this. Definitely want to have the side spin, so I'm thinking maybe like a Bandera eyeball, something like that. Both of them are max pack, which means I'm going to have to confirm that on the tee box, unfortunately. I can't believe after all this time that they haven't put in something that fixes that. But if you have a max pack, as you can see, it was 9 out of 9 on the ball. It's going to ask you to select a ball every time. So annoying. So one of the most annoying the annoyingest features. Like I can just predict it happening, which is annoying. So I try to actually avoid full packs. It only happens when you have a full pack. So here we're going to land right around 5-ish rings. I was trying to set up towards max club, as you could see, right towards the bunker. Just a little bit of curl. Perfect ball. It's going to be probably right down the middle. You'll see there's kind of like a little backstop here that it's almost... Ooh, whoa, whoa. Did not expect that. It's one of the first times that I've messed it up. I just didn't curl it enough, more so than anything. So it was a little bit under on the curl. However, the top spin, technically a little bit heavy. I try to get aggressive towards the north end there. I missed the fairway there. Not necessarily a deal breaker, especially with perfect ball. I feel like there's still a good chance that I'm going to make it. I still think it's the way to go. I almost get it every time, regardless of, just a slight hiccup there in the rough or in the fairway. You'll see that it's very makeable, especially with good distance control. That's more so than anything. You could almost great ball this into the cup if you got your distance down. So that's more or less what you want to be looking for the approach. So I'm assuming at max club 1.7 per ring, which would mean here is probably 3.3 and a half, 3.4, 2.25, somewhere over here. 2.25 per ring, give or take, more or less. And you can see, as I mentioned, distance control is kind of the most important factor. So you'll see that I'm just going to kind of put this just a little bit long, plus distance control, kind of right in here. Perfect ball. So just rolled over the edge. So I went, just a little bit much there. It was essentially 2.25 rings, 2.75, 2.5-ish rings. It was just a tad bit too much, but more so than anything, like maybe just the slightest of curl or a little bit slower speed. Obviously, the ring adjustment was okay. It just had to come in with a little bit better speed. It still came in with good speed. It's exactly what I was looking for. But if it would have just had just a little bit more curl, obviously it was in. So that's more or less what you're looking for. I definitely prefer it to this approach. You just have to kind of take an aggressive line towards the bunker, and there's a lot of fairway hill over there. Whereas the way that I do it, going over the other way, you'll see kind of a side slope that is very consistent. It's one of the main reasons that I like to come in from the left there, is the fact that that side hill over there, very consistent. I tried to avoid most of the side hill to begin with and just come in with good wind effect play and speed more so than anything. But if you do play kind of that side hill, there's a good chance with good speed you're able to get it. So definitely something to be thinking about as you play that hole. And as you can see, I almost was able to get it. And this wind here is, oh, I was about to say that wind was very close to the wind that they actually give you. So maybe thinking about playing that, but doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the next hole. I'm thinking probably arrow ball here. So we need to come up with a good play here on hole 17. So 8.9, that's going to be a little bit larger wind, probably about a 6 for me. 6.1, somewhere in there. One of the most important things that you got to do on this hole is you have to play different wind effect versus like a 6 wind versus a 5. So it requires two different wind effects, but they're very close. Like maybe one is 1.5 bars of right spin. The other one maybe one-ish, 1.25. It's also dependent upon your line, but if you're going to take my line, it looked like that came in just a little bit different than what I shoot for. I mean, I didn't watch that shot outright, but as I mentioned, it'd be a little bit more towards 6. One thing that I do is I try to set up very consistent. So you'll see that I pick kind of the same spot every time, which is there for a starting point. As I mentioned, I'll typically use some side spin, and I might use just a little bit less side spin in situations like this. So you'll see maybe right around here. Other than that, I'm going to play very close to 1-to-1. So 1 per ring. If the wind is 6, I'm going to go 6 rings. Oh, no. You're going to jump over the edge of the cup like that? That was very close. So, very tough hole. You almost have to land on it. So that's more or less what I was trying to do. As you can see, it landed right here. Like literally within 2 inches of just catching the hole. So just kind of the way that it goes. It's more or less one of the tougher holes to get. I don't expect to get it. This is probably what I consider to be the hardest hole in this whole setup. So this is probably number 8 on the toughest of all, like 8 or 9. I feel like hole 8 and 9 are the toughest too. This one is being a par 3. It's probably just a little bit tough. I was just forfeiting to you. So guy beat me to the punch. Regardless, we're going to go on and look at 18. I'm thinking something along the lines of a snowman. I actually don't have things like blue marble at all. Power 4, wind resistance 2, side spin. Nope. Vintage? Nope. That's definitely not it. I knew it wasn't. Yeah, so I'm probably going to go snowman here, I guess. Hopefully we're able to get this one. We'll see what the wind is. I like to get the wind about 10, 10.4, somewhere in there. It's not going to be very close to that with an 11.2 off a basic ball. So a little bit under. This is the case where you definitely want to have something like an earth ball or a ginger man, or didn't they just come out with one too? I don't think it was the rugby to it. It was probably the one right before rugby, and it actually had a decent needle speed. I think I tested it. So may have to go because the wind's just a little bit small. I'm thinking like I don't want to intentionally go berserker. I don't think it's a very good ball for this shot. You definitely have to keep the top spin down foremost. That's a very good selling point. And in terms of a 9.7, I almost feel like I can go full here. It's very close. I don't even know why this guy's covering his eyes, because this is actually a pretty legit shot. Ah, I clipped the fairway. Stay in the fairway. Okay. All right, we're good. About it rolling through at first. So the biggest thing about this shot here on the approach is the wind effect. Most guys won't play enough wind effect. So that's the first thing that you want to be looking for when you get to this spot is you need to figure out the wind effect, especially from the rough, especially from the bunker. Most guys will put it at the hole, which means that you have to do kind of like a significant overplay, which most guys won't do. They'll just play the ring adjustment. So you got to be confident with kind of your play more so than anything. What you'll see that I'll do is I'll try to size it up, figure out where my ring adjustment is. It's pretty close to kind of mid-ish club. We got some side spin. So I'll definitely try to play some wind effect here. So I'm thinking somewhere in the effect of this for an 11. So you can see I'm almost kind of 2 grids over and kind of good speed, more so or less. This is almost 2 full grids over. Aside from that, it's almost going to be 1-ish per ring, very close. And just make sure that you have a good pull angle. I'm thinking somewhere around here. It's very... It might have been just a little bit deep. It's probably coming in just a little bit too hot. Nope, just to the left. So either A, not quite enough wind effect, or just a little bit light on my adjustment. You can see that I had to do an extra adjustment because I was a little too zoomed in on that last little tweak of that adjustment. I didn't want to make that last ring. I wanted to do it in one pull. Had to do it in two, but as you can see, almost 1 ring light. Had I great ball it to the left, probably would have been pretty close. But all in all, not too bad. Thank you guys anyway, regardless, for showing up. Even though I can't converse with you guys, I do appreciate you guys being here. I'm just going to go ahead and, give our best sales pitch. I just want to take a look at this temporarily just to see what it looked. Dude, I was just going to forfeit to you. But I just wanted to take a look at what it looked like up there. But as you can see, kind of a disappointing back nine stream, especially considering I used the balls. And on the front, it was just kingmakers, and I made a couple of, so I made 6 and 9, which are kind of things that you don't expect to make. And I did it with kingmakers. But as you can see, I made 1. Obviously, 1 is something you guys want to try to get. Definitely 5. You can see I actually got it on the back. You definitely want to make that on both sides. And as you can see, I'm pretty sure I caught a great ball on the front there. But regardless, thanks guys for showing up for the stream. If you guys do want to contribute to this charity raffle that we have going, this is in the Golf Clash Notebook group. It's Ian's main account that he's essentially just generously donating, that we're basically putting up, and plenty of balls and whatnot. If you guys didn't catch the thing about putting up, I've had a couple of offers to potentially put that out outright to just buy the account. And if you are interested, do reach out to me, and we'll definitely cross that bridge if you're interested. Alternatively, do check out my personal Facebook page. As you can see, here we are. This is the personal page, and here is the fundraiser for it. So if you guys are able to contribute on this, or at least, give it a shout out or whatever, anything to kind of progress this along. As you can see, it's kind of not, it hasn't quite taken off. I just started it this morning. So if you guys can kind of push it along, even if it isn't from a donation standpoint, even if you could just come to the page here and just kind of contribute positively vocally, like that's something that would be greatly appreciative. So, thank you guys for checking this out. I'm gonna try to, if I can, try to do something for you guys this weekend. Hopefully, the comments start to come in, as they were on here at the beginning, but apparently something happened to my connection, which caused the comments to disappear. But thank you all for attending this stream and checking out the expert round. I wish you guys all the best of luck in the City of Light tournament. Let me know if you guys need anything, and thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.